Grand Rising. So I see Sister Lisa did a video talking about a new Black Panther party. You see, this is what has happened when people have tried to just put everybody together and act like at the end we're all just trying to save everybody. Black people are now supposed to be making up groups to save other groups. Now, I haven't seen these other groups step up at all to do anything for us for the last 400 plus years. None of them have stood up to try to make things right. They've actually just stood around and watched and laughed the whole time and, had their hand in the pot the whole time, while we were going through our punishment. And see, this is what happens when you listen to, I see these guys from GMS, oh, look, Jacob's trouble is just beginning. So what, we all need to come together now? We all need to come together and go through Jacob's trouble together. See, this again goes back to Psalms 83 and the Church of Satan. And now here at the end, trying to still keep pushing we're all in this together. We're not all in this together. You were all in it together against us. And that's how it was for the last 400 plus years. You were all in it together against us. Now, the only people that are going to be wanting to come together with you are going to be blassels and vassals. I said, there's no right-thinking individual that's in this truth that now wants to come together with you. Because we've seen what happens when you have the controls. When you have the controls, you're going to do any and everything you possibly can to make sure that you're good and to make sure that we are ignored and everything that we've gone through is ignored. Now see, the coming collapse, the collapse is already here. I was watching a video earlier, I might play a little bit of it, but it was talking about commercial real estate and how really a lot of these loans that these banks have, they are going to owe more than the capital they have in the banks. So pretty much these banks are zombies. They're like walking zombies, which would make sense because the vast majority of the people that we see are zombies. There's no spirit, there's no soul. They're just entities that are just walking around and just pretty much they're reacting to stimuli, but there's no spirit and there's no soul. We've been giving you all this truth and all this understanding, and you have just ignored it, which pretty much proves again that you don't have any kind of soul, right? We've been proving your churches wrong. We've been telling you pretty much that you support pedophiles at the church. You support priests and pastors, who rape children, and their leaders go ahead and go out of their way to make sure that they don't have to pay. They put pontifical secret out there and they hide their actions, and you don't say a word, which then again, like I said, it proves that you are just like these banks, walking zombies. Now, it was showing like pretty much like the banks had like $9 trillion of like money in the banks, but then like a lot of their commercial real estate is like, pretty much the equivalent of like $17 billion. So, I was like unrealized. Pretty much it's going to be like unrealized expenses that are eventually going to come due very, very soon. It's a great video, and it just shows you, like I said, they, over encumbered. They're going to owe way more than they have. And it's just going to, but this is what happens again when you guys have, especially the last 55 years, right? The last 55 years from 1971 to 2026, the last, 55 years of you guys having control with the petrodollar, and you've been able to just run up debt. But again, this debt has been distributed worldwide. So everyone was able to get their dainties. Everyone was, like it was in Psalm chapter 2, everyone had their part of the voluptuousness. No, you didn't all have it at the same level. I said, but you did all enjoy, your voluptuousness. You had your little countries, you had your little autonomy, you had your opportunity to be racist towards the Israelites. You were and when I say racist, it's not just that you didn't like us. Like, the racism is that Esau gave you countries, and he gave you the ability to keep us down. And that's what a racist is when you have the ability to keep someone down. You're able to hire only your own people. You're able to get loans just for your own people. You're able to get opportunities just for your own people, and you only help your own people. And people like myself, have always been shunned and pushed to the side. The Israelites have always been shunned and pushed to the side. Now that's all coming to an end, and Most High is taking down your financial system. Your military means nothing to the Most High. He can destroy that, with just opening his mouth and breathing out fire, and that's what he said he's going to do in the Bible. So the whole thing about your military might, you being able to fight, and this, and that, that's a non-starter. That's not going to happen whatsoever. So the Most High he's bringing down the things that you hold dear. He's bringing down your society. He's bringing down you guys thinking that you guys have like the moral authority. You guys used to act like you guys had the moral authority and that you guys could talk about morality and things like that. That's been destroyed. That's been debunked. You're talking about, oh, I've been blessed. Look at all the money I have. God must love me because I have a nice house. I have a nice retirement. I have a nice job. I'm going to put my kids through college. And now you're realizing that has nothing to do with the Most High. That has to do with your gods. See, you've been, serving gods of this matrix. And the only thing they can give you are the dainties. And again, the dainties are stolen from us. And now these dainties have to be returned back to us. So this whole thing about, the West is falling. The West is, and that's what they were talking about. Like, this is a big wealth transfer of silver and gold from the West to the East, right? And it's like, you guys have already been doing the wealth transfer from the West to the East this whole time. As soon as 1492 happened and you got over here, that was a great wealth transfer from the West to the East. But see, you don't want to make it sound like these are the things that are happening now. You're not talking about the fact that you've already fulfilled these prophecies from 1492 and on. You found mountains and mountains of silver and gold, and you made our people mine them. You put them in those galleons, and you took them back to the East. You've already been doing this. This was just the last 55 years of you guys transferring, trying to transfer our wealth from the West to the East. So this is what happens when you came over here. As soon as you guys got over here, and in 1492, you brought the East to the West, and you covered these lands with all of that thinking. And now you try to make it sound like, oh, this is a big wealth transfer, and everything's coming from the West to the East, and it's this and that. I was like, no, that's already happened. And now is the time where all these things are going to be returned back to the true Westerners, the people from Turtle Island. That is what is on tap right now. So again, you guys are trying to fake it again. See, this is what happens when you try to hide your history. You try to make it sound like, all of these events are things that are new, and that, this is prophecy. Just like, Iran. Those people ain't the original Iranians that are over there. They're not the original Jewish people. They're the original Egyptians, right? All those things, again, if you're reading the Bible has nothing to do with the so-called Middle East of today. It has everything to do with what you would call the Middle West and Turtle Island. It has nothing to do with you guys. And as much as you guys try to, make it seem like just because all you guys want to agree to the lie doesn't make it true. It does not make it true. Just because the vast majority of us believe that Ish is the people, which is no proof whatsoever, just like today. Hold on. Look at this. Just like you guys want to act like these natives are the original people. Off-Grid had this today. Breaking news. ICE arrests 4 Native Americans, and now 3 are missing. Again, these people aren't the original natives. Again, I'll play a little bit of the video.
Sioux tribal council members, and there was 4 tribal members who were picked up by ICE in a community called Little Earth right here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And one of them has been released, but they couldn't locate the other 3. So the council members here, they're all elected officials of the Oglala Sioux tribe, and they gained access to the facility, and they couldn't find their 3 tribal members. They claim that they're not classifying them by their nationality, which tribal members are also citizens of the United States since 1924. There's nobody more American than American Indians. But
So again, they picked up 4. There's our number again, number 4. They picked up 4 of them and said that they were not natives. ICE picked them up, which we already know. And you guys have only been citizens since 1924, and there's nothing more American than Native Americans. But you only got classified as being Native American in 1924. Whatever happened to the other few hundred years? Whatever happened in 1776? How come it took all the way till 1924 for you to get classified as a Native American? Because you're not the natives. Again, it's just been a bunch of smoke and mirrors, just like your financial system. Same thing with the people and their identities. And now the Most High has raised us up to tell the truth, and that is why everything is falling apart all around you. Much love, family. Shalom.